Welcome friends, we're headed back to 1990 because I've discovered 10 more one-season flops. We have rookie cop Matthew Perry, Nell Carter as the next Roseanne, George Clooney as an undercover biker cop, the real-life Zappa family, and much more. So if you remember any of these short-lived TV relics, drop a comment below. And if you don't, well, that's probably for the best. Number 10, Sunset Beat.
Have you ever felt the earth move? Have you ever shed a tear? Did you ever want to love something or simply have it near? Or did you hold it in your arms till it made your body bleed? As it pushed into the heart of you, pushed into the heart of you, I never thought you'd give it up to me. I could tell you that I love you, I could tell you that I need you, but you wouldn't even hear.
Premiering on April 21st, 1990 as a two-part pilot movie. 6 episodes were produced, but only the first 2 aired that year. The other 4, well, they sat collecting dust in ABC's vault until 1992, when the network finally dug them out to fill a scheduling gap. The show starred Tuesday Knight as Lucy, and a perfectly coiffed George Clooney as Chick. The premise? A squad of undercover LA cops posing as motorcycle-riding bad boys bust street crime. Think Roadhouse, but with badges instead of bouncers. Sounds like the perfect launchpad for George Clooney's career, right? Not quite. The show crashed and burned, sending him straight to Baby Talk, another misfire, before he finally struck gold with ER. And from the moment the theme song kicks in, you can tell this was an 80s leftover that somehow stumbled into the 90s. Mullets, leather jackets, and melodrama galore. There's action, chases, fights, undercover work, but somehow not much actually happens, you know? Sure, only airing 2 episodes meant it never really had a shot. But let's be honest, sometimes you can just tell when a show is headed straight for the TV dumpster fire. And Sunset Beat? Oh yeah, it was already up in flames. Number 9, Normal Life. This family was anything but normal. Normal Life followed the unconventional family dynamics of a stay-at-home writer-father, his overly involved wife, and their 3 fiercely independent yet close-knit children. The show was inspired by the real-life Zappa family, led by rock legend Frank Zappa, and even starred his actual kids, Moon Unit and Dweezil Zappa. Despite holding a 6.7 rating on IMDb, that number's based on a measly 42 ratings, which tells you all you need to know. Not a lot of people tuned in or cared about what was going on in the Zappa household. Premiering Wednesday, March 21st, 1990 on CBS. The show had the misfortune of going up against Growing Pains on ABC and Unsolved Mysteries. Let's be real, there was no way the Zappas were going to outshine the Seavers or compete with dramatic reenactments of spooky unsolved crimes. After 12 episodes, the show made its quiet exit, leaving little more than a quirky footnote in TV history. The few reviews that do exist are largely neutral, with some comparing it to the Osbournes, but in sitcom form. Interesting side note, a young yet easily recognizable Leah Remini appears in episode 10 as Carol. While Normal Life was far from a masterpiece, it might still be worth a revisit, if only to see Moon Unit and Dweezil do their thing on network television. Number 8, Babes.
And everyone
Babes followed the lives of three plus-size sisters, navigating the ups and downs of work, relationships, and starting a family, all while crammed into a tiny one-bedroom apartment in New York City. Naturally, this led to plenty of comic friction and some seriously relatable sibling struggles. Premiering on September 13th, 1990 on Fox, the show attempted to mix heartfelt moments with broad comedy. But despite having some charm, it struggled to find an audience. Maybe the world just wasn't ready for a show centered on three unapologetic women who weren't obsessed with dieting or fitting into Hollywood's beauty standards. Although Babes managed to last a full season with 22 episodes, it didn't do well enough to earn a second. Their biggest competition was another short-lived series, The Flash, which at first beat them in the ratings pretty badly. But as time went on, they leveled out. The show was fun, and anywhere you look, people remember it fondly and have great things to say about it. In fact, it was popular enough for someone at Fox to bring it back the following year in repeats. So what's the truth? Well, I could make something up, but there's no definitive answer anywhere, other than the usual excuse of poor ratings. And honestly, I'm not buying it. And that leaves all of us to draw our own conclusions about why Babes didn't get the love it deserved. Number 7, The Fanelli Boys.
I'm down on the Lancet Street. Said I'm street smart. I've got New York City high. Why should I wear it?
Premiering on September 8th, 1990 on NBC. The Fanelli Boys followed the chaotic lives of 4 adult brothers who moved back home after their father's death, much to the dismay of their widowed mother Teresa. Frankie, played by Christopher Maloney, is the suave ladies' man. Ronnie is struggling in school, and Dom, played by Joey Pantoliano, is a small-time scam artist. Anthony, played by Ned Eisenberg, runs the family business. Adding to the mix is Uncle Angelo, a priest who tries, and often fails, to keep the boys in check. Things started off promising, especially when it aired against a repeat of Twin Peaks. But then NBC made the fateful decision to move it where it had to compete with Doogie Howser MD and Jake and the Fat Man, a ratings death sentence. By November 14th, its ratings had dropped to an 8.9, prompting NBC to move it yet again, this time Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. While it technically won its time slot, the competition was weak, and the damage was done. NBC ultimately pulled the plug in December, burning off the remaining episodes before calling it a day. Despite its short run, the Fanelli Boys had a solid cast and some genuinely funny moments. But constant schedule shifts and tough competition sealed its fate. Another case of what could have been in the ever-brutal world of network television. Number 6, The Flash. Premiering on September 20th, 1990 on CBS. The Flash had all the makings of a superhero hit. High-speed action, flashy, pun intended, special effects, and a lead actor squeezed into a muscle suit. The story follows police crime scene investigator Barry Allen, who in a classic comic book freak accident gets struck by lightning and doused in chemicals. Instead of, dying, Barry wakes up with the ability to move at nearly the speed of sound. With the help of Star Lab scientist Tina McGee, he learns to control his new powers. But when his motorcycle cop older brother Jay is tragically killed in the line of duty, Barry decides it's time to suit up. Tina designs a special high-tech costume that can withstand hyperspeed travel. And just like that, Central City has its very own Scarlet Speedster. On paper, The Flash should have been a home run. It had a solid cast, including John Wesley Shipp in the lead role. The show even had a killer score by Danny Elfman, but despite its strengths, the series never really found its footing, Production costs were high, ratings were inconsistent, and CBS wasn't exactly known for being a superhero-friendly network. After 22 episodes, The Flash ran out of steam, getting canceled before it could hit its stride. However, it wasn't a total loss. John Wesley Shipp would later return to the Flash universe in the CW's modern series, passing the torch, or rather the lightning bolt, to a new generation. It may not have been a long run, but for fans of early 90s superhero TV, The Flash still holds a special place in the Speed Force. Number 5, Sydney. Debuting on March 21, 1990, Sydney starred Valerie Bertinelli as a private investigator who returns to her hometown for a fresh start. With the help of her brother Billy, played by a young Matthew Perry, she lands a job working for a neurotic lawyer, portrayed by Craig Bierko, an actor who Hollywood was really trying to make happen at the time. Rounding out the cast was Sydney's best friend Jill, a pervy barfly named Cheesy.
Babe, I'm gonna do you a big favor.
What's that?
I'm gonna introduce myself.
Wow.
So mark this down as the red letter day you met and fell for the one Chester P. Chaswell, known the world over as Cheesy.
A sneaky informant named Perry, and a bar owner / wise old sage named Ray, aka Morty Seinfeld.
Cheesy?
Don't ask.
I won't ever.
I gotta say, I was pretty surprised to see him in the show. I've never seen him in anything else before, and it was pretty cool. Sydney premiered against Head of the Class in Unsolved Mysteries, which was a tough matchup. Things didn't improve even after shifting to an 8 p.m. time slot against a Growing Pains rerun. Desperate to save the show, CBS moved it to Mondays at 8:30, following Major Dad. And for the first time, Sydney actually won its time slot. But it was too little, too late. CBS pulled the plug after airing all 13 produced episodes, some of which even made it into reruns. You know, personally, I found the show funny. Craig Bierko's character could be a bit much, but overall, it was a solid sitcom. If you're curious, I recommend checking out the pilot. It's right here on YouTube. Give it a watch and judge for yourself. Number 4, Good Grief.
The sky so blue, smell the grass so nice and green. Live it up, kick it out, take it in, it's all going by. Well, give it your best shot, make sure to go for every dream. Live it up, kick it out, take it in, and celebrate life. 'Cause life's a blast if you catch the beat, but you can't dance if you don't move your feet. No.
Debuting on Sunday, September 30th, 1990 at 9:30. Good Grief had the misfortune of going up against a 2-part episode of Twin Peaks, a Perry Mason TV movie, and hilariously, the same day the ill-fated Hell Honey, I'm Home premiered in the UK. If you haven't heard about that one, you need to look it up and you need to check it out. That sitcom is insane.
I'm a very, very bad Hitler. Come here, babe.
Don't touch me. You've been late for your dinner every night this week.
Ava, babe, please. I'm the Fuhrer. I'm a busy man. I can't just walk off the job at 5 o'clock.
On Monday, you had to meet with Goebbels. On Tuesday...
The show followed straight-laced Warren, his sister Debbie, and her flamboyant husband Ernie, who was determined to put the fun back in Funeral. Their quirky team also included Raoul, Ernie's assistant, and honestly, he's probably the most entertaining of the bunch. Creator Stu Silver had been shopping the series around since 1983 with no luck, until Fox finally gave it the green light. The reviews I managed to find online were surprisingly favorable, with some even calling it a precursor to 6 Feet Under. I didn't watch the series during its original run, but I was able to find some episodes on YouTube. To me, the show was horrible. Instead of being funny, Howie Mandel just comes across as annoying, even more than usual. The mullet alone is enough to turn people off. And honestly, I struggled to make it past the 13-minute mark. but was actually excited to see that the commercials were included in the upload. Yeah, that's right, I was excited when the commercials came on.
The Walsh family just moved from the Midwest to the richest city in America.
Everyone here looks like they just stepped out of a music video. I don't even have the right hair.
Socially, it's really intense. You make one false move and you're history.
Now the kids have inherited a wealth of problems.
Parents in Beverly Hills let their kids go where they want and do what they want. They're treated like adults.
Except they're not.
And so have their parents.
When's your curfew?
Excuse me?
Beverly Hills 90210 premieres Thursday.
Think we're gonna need a raise in our allowance.
Good Grief struggled in the ratings, with its main competition being the big Sunday night movies on ABC and NBC. It was completely clobbered by a made-for-TV movie starring Susan Lucci, which was apparently enough for Fox to call it quits. All 13 episodes aired before the show was quietly put to rest. Number 3, The Babysitter's Club. Premiering on August 15th, 1990 on HBO, The Babysitter's Club is technically a success story, even though only 13 episodes were produced. Originally planned as a straight-to-VHS series, HBO picked it up after releasing the first 4 episodes, airing 1 episode per month, based on the widely popular book series by Anne M. Martin. The show had its fair share of critics, but it also holds a special place in the hearts of many fans. And that nostalgia factor is exactly why we're including it on this list. The series was popular enough to get reruns on the Disney Channel from 1994 to 1997. And while it was never really intended to go beyond its original run, it wasn't canceled or renewed. It just ended. It's still worth a watch, if only to see a young Danny Tamborelli.
Found another cookie. These are good, aren't they, Stacy?
Yes, they're delicious. But I thought you weren't supposed to eat that stuff.
Why not?
Because I have something called diabetes, and I have to be careful of what I eat. Well, sure seems like you've been eating an awful lot of sweets lately. Are you keeping track? I know what I'm doing, Dawn. Jackie, no!
Fast forward to 2020, and The Babysitter's Club got a fresh reboot on Netflix, running for 18 episodes before meeting a similar fate. Number 2, You Take the Kids.
Nobody's got it easy. His life keeps rolling on. There isn't a door that trouble don't come knocking upon. No sky is only sunshine. So when those clouds roll by, just keep a big umbrella and a twinkle in your eye. Life may be a bowl of cherries and a love may not cost a cent, but we all had a taste of sour berries, and we all know love won't pay the rent. Nobody's got it easy, honey.
Premiering on December 15th, 1990 on CBS. You Take the Kids was the network's attempt at creating a Black Roseanne, with the ever-lovable Nell Carter in the lead role. And honestly, just hearing the name brings back childhood memories. She had that special kind of warmth that made any show feel like home.
Oh, I love lighting the Christmas tree. It's the one time every year that we get together and do something together as a family.
The series followed Michael Kirkland, a Pittsburgh bus driver, his wife Nell, and their 4 children, Raymond, Loretta, Peter, and Nate. Nell's mother, Helen, also lives in the basement, completing the full working-class sitcom setup. If you take Roseanne's formula, swap in Nell Carter, and mix in classic family sitcom tropes, you've got Take the Kids. Unfortunately, the show never found its footing. It was regularly trounced in the ratings by Amen and the Young Riders, leading to CBS to pull the plug after just 5 episodes. The 6th and final episode never even made it on air, due to the coverage of the Gulf War. With such a short run, You Take the Kids faded into obscurity almost as quickly as it arrived. But if you're a fan of Nell Carter, it's worth tracking down, if only for the nostalgia. And this actor looks very familiar. Who is he?
You know you look a lot like your grandfather.
Well, I'm tired.
It's funny.
Number 1, A Family for Joe.
I never liked kids, even when I was one. Never had much use for them in my line of work. To be honest, for the past 2 years, I didn't have a line of work. The only line I ever knew was the one that wrapped around St. Anthony's soup kitchen. It wasn't the Ritz, but at least I knew what to expect. What I didn't expect was these 4 kids. At any rate, we struck a deal. I get room and board, and they get a grandpa.
A Family for Joe is a 1990 American sitcom that aired on NBC, featuring the legendary Robert Mitchum in a rare television role. The series centers on Joe Whitaker, a homeless man who is convinced by 4 recently orphaned siblings to pose as their grandfather to prevent them from being separated and placed into foster care. As Joe steps into the role, he imparts wisdom and guidance, while their ex-air traffic controller neighbor, Roger Hightower, offers support amidst the household chaos.
You want me to make a phone call or open your garage door?
Joe, wake up and smell the 90s.
The show also starred a young Ben Savage as Chris Bankston and Juliette Lewis as Holly Bankston. It began as a television movie that aired on February 25th, 1990, with Maya Bruton and Chris Furr in the roles of Nick and Holly, before transitioning into a series that premiered on March 24th. The series faced challenges in securing a steady audience, leading to its cancellation after just 9 episodes, with the final episode airing on August 19th, 1990. Critically, the series received mixed reviews. Ken Tucker of Entertainment Weekly rated it a D. While A Family for Joe may not have left a lasting mark on television history, it remains a curious piece for fans of the actors involved and those interested in early 90s sitcoms. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more videos just like this.